Hello, everyone. Cheryl Washington here, and today I'm going to actually do a tutorial, talk to you about how to transfer your domain name from Network Solutions to GoDaddy. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because Network Solutions, when I first started online and went to get a URL, there were a few different companies out there, and I wasn't sure which one to go to. So I went to companies like CVS.com and some other ones and looked up to see who they were using because I just had no idea who to use. And most of the ones that I looked at were using networksolutions.com. So hence I got networksolutions.com. And I've used them for a number of years. It wasn't until recently when I joined a particular networking opportunity that I ended up switching to GoDaddy. And I'm going to explain that. I'm going to explain why that was in a minute. But I just want to kind of lay out what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and it's going to take a few days. So what I think that I'm going to end up doing here is breaking this up into a series. Okay, so there's probably going to be 3 or 4 parts. So, this first video will be part 1, the next one will be part 2. But what I'll do is when I finish up with part 4, I'll go back and edit the titles. So it's part 1 of 4, part 2 of 4, and so on, so that I know that a lot of times someone will do a series and they'll have part 1, part 2, but you don't really know where it ends. So I'm just going to do that because it'll make it easier. At some point, I might even create a video linking them all together, but I'm just going to get this out here. So what I'm going to focus on right now is why I moved from Network Solutions to GoDaddy. Well, the biggest reason is the cost, right? Network Solutions cost, I believe, $34, $34.99 for a URL, which GoDaddy is $12.99. However, if you are a first-time GoDaddy purchaser, you can get your domain name for like $2.99, sometimes $1.99. And then you, of course, also need the hosting, which the hosting with GoDaddy is much less than Network Solutions also. The other piece of it is I wanted to domain map my URL, okay? Which means, excuse me, I have an Empower Network blog. And so when I created my own website, it would have to be, you know, www.empowernetwork.com backslash Cheryl Washington backslash whatever the title of the article, the blog post I'm doing is. It was just too long. Now I can go to, and let me show you while I'm doing this, is I can go right to CherylWashington.com. Let's see, this is pulling up. It's a little slow today. But oh, okay, it's coming up. Here we go. All right, so see, this is actually what you call domain mapping. It's mapped to my Empower Network blog. And what happens is, you want to look professional. And you want to have a professional looking URL. And you don't want a URL that's too long for someone else to remember. So if someone kind of said to me, hey, Cheryl, what's your blog? I want to be able to say, oh, you know what? You can find me at CherylWashington.com, right? Not some EmpowerNetwork.com backslash Cheryl Washington backslash blog or whatever it is, right? And with network solutions, it's not as easy as this process right here where it's just CherylWashington.com. There's still a blog or some other term that you actually give it, but it's not this clean. And then when I first started doing it, I could not find any tutorials online to show me how to do it with Network Solutions. I ended up having to call Network Solutions. Whereas with GoDaddy, there's so many tutorials out there. It was very easy to do, it's clean, and I'm very satisfied. So that's another reason why I've opted to go with GoDaddy.com. Let's talk about customer service. Network Solutions, it's not that the customer service was bad, but it took you a while to kind of explain exactly what you wanted. I read a comment that someone had made about Network Solutions that they assume that their end user does not have a lot of knowledge in hosting, etc. And I absolutely have to say I agree with that. Whereas GoDaddy, they know right away what you're talking about and they give you help right away. Network Solutions is always trying to sell you. If I'm calling for help, I don't want to be sold to. I'm calling for help. And then the other thing is I've transferred names from Network Solutions before because I own several different domain names and I'm in the process of transferring them all to GoDaddy. I'm just waiting for them to expire. Once they expire, I'm going to bring them over to GoDaddy. So I've done this before, and what I found, and this is a really cool tip. If you have a domain name and maybe you don't want to transfer or you can be convinced not to transfer, then this is what you do. So when you go to Network Solutions, and you'll see when we get to that point, that when you do the steps that you have to do to transfer your domain, they will offer you a better price. And what I don't like is why not give me that price when I sign up or some better deals? And then I ended up calling them because they took too long to send me an email to confirm that my transfer process was underway. They said, "Oh, well, we can meet, whatever whoever's price." So a lot of times these companies will meet the competitor's price. I just don't want to go through the rigmarole in order to get that price. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to call and say, well, I'm going to transfer all these names. I'm just not going to be bothered. I'm just going to go with a service provider who provides me with the best rate overall. GoDaddy is not the only one that has good rates. I think there's Namecheap, DreamHost. There's a few of them out there, but I just opted to go with GoDaddy, just from my needs. Your needs might be different, but in the event that you were thinking about transferring from Network Solutions to GoDaddy, I think you're doing the right thing. The other piece that I don't like about Network Solutions is that when you purchase your URL, by default, it's on autopay. And so the problem I had with that is that they didn't start that when I purchased it. But at some point after I had been on Network Solutions, they decided they were going to put everybody's account on autopay without telling people. So all of a sudden, I'm getting these charges, and they will take out the auto pay, right? They'll activate the auto pay and take the money out like 3 months before your domain even expires. So I was not very happy about that. You can go in and you can change that option so that it doesn't auto pay. However, I would have appreciated an email from them or a call just to say, hey, we are now going to start doing auto pay, and everybody's default mechanism is going to be auto pay. And then when you go into purchase, let's say, let's look up, I'm just going to say, let's look up a domain name really quick. Search for a domain name. And I'm going to come up with a domain name that probably no one has, just so I can give a good example of what I'm going to now mention. All right, looks like Network Solutions is a little slow today too. Okay, so you see here now, Where it used to be you come up with all these different options and alternatives, but now what they're doing is they just added your thing to cart. You can't even see what the price is. Well, what's the price? I might not want to buy it. So let's just follow this process. Let's go down and let's hit continue. All right, you have to start an account, but they're asking you to start an account before they even tell you what the price is. So do, let's go to the cart and let's see if we can check out the price. Ooh, they've defaulted me to 5 years. Don't want to do that. 34.99. Yep, that's the price. So those kind of tactics that they have, that I consider a little, I don't know if I would say unethical, but I think they lack a certain amount of integrity there. That they add all the stuff to your site and you can't even see. I just don't like that. I just don't like it. So you don't have to deal with that with GoDaddy. You can clearly, GoDaddy will ask you, do you want to add this and things like that, but it's not all intrusive. Let's see if we go to GoDaddy and let's do a domain search. Say bulk FXA, and I'm just coming up with that because I don't want to give you an example and we get there and then it's not available. Then we'll have a 10-hour video trying to figure it out. So you see here, it's $12.99, right? And I love how they say $14.99, they cross it out. It's $12.99. Selected, continue to cart, protect, and it's no thanks. See, with Network Solutions, all that stuff is added, and you have to start removing stuff that you didn't even ask for. You can go right down here. Everything's defaulted to no thank you. That's the way it should be. And let's see. This will probably take us to the cart where we would add information. They've got the pop up if you need help. Okay, here they do default to 5 years. We just change that to 1. It's not a big deal, but the fact is you can see the rates and the prices before you give your information. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then proceed to checkout and you can purchase. I mean, and that's it. Really simple. All right, so you guys, those are some of the reasons why I do prefer GoDaddy. Now, once you get into GoDaddy, I believe that it took me a while to get used to GoDaddy. I will say that Network Solutions was a little easier for me to, set up WordPress, at least in the beginning. But now that I've gotten used to GoDaddy, I think the GoDaddy function is easier. It just, if you're on Network Solutions, it's just going to take you a minute to kind of get used to the back office at GoDaddy. It's set up logically, it's set up a little differently. So it might take you a little time on that. But the service is pretty good. I have had to call customer service a couple times for GoDaddy. I don't recall if the wait times I think might have been a little longer than Network Solutions. However, I was much happier. They helped me with what I wanted, and they weren't trying to sell me everything under the sun after they finished the customer service call. Where with Network Solutions, they call you, you're not going to wait as long, but they're going to try to sell you under the sun before you get off that phone, even if what you're calling for is because you have an issue. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to continue on with the next video where I'm going to start walking through the process of transferring your domain name. All right, I'll talk to you in the next video. All right, guys, so we are now in part 2 of moving your URL from NetWall going to go eventually also. Okay, so let's see. we want to leave the domain transfer lock off. Okay. Request authorization code. And then just this note, all domain names changes must be complete before you request a transfer to network. Okay, we're not transferring to Network Solutions, so we're not worried about that. Okay, so it says my request for an authorization code has been received, and your information will be validated to ensure the security of your account. If your request is approved, you will receive your authorization code in 3 days. To cancel this request, call customer service. Now, you guys, this is very, very important. You want to make sure that the voice, I don't know how they pronounce it, Whois, I'm just going to say Whois, WHOIS, report has your correct email address because that's where the request is going to go. And you have to monitor your emails over the next few days because if they don't get a response, they're going to cancel. All right. So you have to make sure you're going to slow the process. You have to make sure that your email address is listed correctly. So you can go to whois.com and see what email is listed and make sure that that email is correct. And keep an eye out on your inbox also because if I recall correctly, and I might be wrong, but I believe that when they send you these emails, they're timed emails, so they'll expire after a certain amount of time. So you want to start, you want to make sure that you're responding to these requests that they're going to send you as soon as possible. Now, I noticed with the last time I did a transfer that Network Solutions took long enough that I had to call the customer service. And of course, that was done by design. However, this product here, the URL that I'm transferring, does not expire for another few months. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time to go through. So I'm not sure when the next video will um, when I'll be doing the next video, the next update. But so make sure that you're keeping an eye out on my blog www.cherylwashington.com for an update. And matter of fact, if you leave a comment, I'll update the comments and just say, hey guys, I uploaded the next video if you want to see it. So you guys, that's it for today. So what I will do is keep an eye out on my email. And when I get that email, I will go ahead and update that the next part of the process. Let me just also list for you guys a couple of the items that could cause your transfer to be delayed or failed, okay? If the domain name has not been registered for 60 days, all right? So you can't get, if you got a Network Solutions URL today and you've decided, a week from now, or you got it last week and you've decided, you know what, I want to switch to GoDaddy or whomever else, right? Um, there's a regulation that you cannot do this within 60 days. And I think that's custom for most companies. So that's not separate to Network Solutions, but a domain name has to be registered for at least 60 days before it can be transferred. Let's say if your authorization is denied, as authorization codes are random sets, they're random sets of letters and numbers. They're case sensitive. You know, may contain characters that would be mistaken for other characters. So what I advise you to do is to copy and paste the authorization code from the email that you get rather than typing it. All right. So that way it doesn't get denied. And you're sitting there trying to figure out, well, what the heck? Because, sometimes the zero can look like an O, right? Um, if your domain name is expired and deactivated. Now, most expired domain names can be transferred, but you're probably going to be better off if you just call Network Solutions to take care of that versus trying to do it this way. Also, there's a 30-day transfer lock on a domain name. And, these companies don't want to lose their business, right? So they're going to try to do different things, like they might be, maybe they're super slow. So again, you just want to make sure that you're keeping an eye out on your email, okay? And you just want to make sure that all your contact information is correct. Your email is correct. Your name is correct, all right? If it needs to be changed, make sure it's changed everywhere. All right? If you're thinking about changing it, wait until after all this process has been done, okay? So that's all you need to do for right now, and I will talk to you in the next video. Okay? Bye bye.